Good morning. It is Saturday, September 29th. Been up for several hours, but at noon, here in about a half hour, Nick's going to be here to go to Golden Corral. Because he sent out a message a bit ago, and he's like, does anyone want to go to Golden Corral today? And I'm like, it's a bit more expensive than I'd like to, but I would like to hang out, so if that's what you want to do, I can make it work. And he's like, alright, I'll see you around noon 30. Like, fine. So, that'll be fun. I was talking to Mom yesterday, of course, and there was sort of a thought of, are we going to try and do the Ren Fair this weekend? She sent me a message earlier this morning saying, not this weekend, maybe next. Ethan's busy, I don't know, school event thingy, I don't know, something. So we're here at Golden Corral, and it's like at a time of day where there aren't really any good coupons. We're just paying the money. It's expensive. Oh well. And it's $16, but at least they still have the sausage gravy. Trying a few things I haven't tried before though. One of the benefits from coming on a Saturday is that we get steak even this early in the day. Otherwise, mostly just getting things covered in sausage gravy, which isn't exactly expensive, but it tastes good. I guess I liked the new whatever cheese potato things because I got them again. I don't know if they've always had guacamole in the taco area, but they did today, so I'm trying it. Getting some bread pudding with ice cream, and as Nick pointed out, they actually have both options for ice cream today, which they haven't the last few times we've been here, and I thought maybe it's because it's the weekend, they're just doing something special. Maybe it's usually deliberate that they only have one, because they hate people. The burning passion. Or maybe not. Maybe it's just that it's always half broken. I've been to McDonald's before. That happens. And we finally got a server just before getting our last plates. Otherwise, I guess we got there during the shift change, and there was no one in the area where we sat. I'm stuffed, but not particularly in pain. Like Nick had said, he stopped before getting in pain. I was like, yeah, I guess it's a good idea. Oh, do you want to get in the car? Oh, okay, I guess I'll let him in the car. There we go. And home, very stuffed. Nick ran off to go play more Spider-Man, apparently. I'm going to try and, I guess, work on some more stuff here at the computer. 'Tis life, eh? And I'm just kind of doing whatever. Working on some editing, watching YouTube, looking through some D&D stuff. And I dragged in this bin that it has got stuff I need to sort through. So I've been pulling stuff out of there. And, I'd found my high school yearbooks in some of the other boxes a while back. This is where my middle school yearbooks were. I'm glad, because I was kind of wondering, did those get lost? So I just open them up, signatures and all that kind of stuff. I'm just reading some of that. I recall when I was younger having very few friends. And lots of the signatures are just people's, name or, have a good summer and meaningless. Niceties enough that, okay, perhaps they didn't hate me, they just didn't know me. There's a couple. There's one in particular, there were a couple that I'm like, they were quite nice. And of course some of those were from friends. At that time I knew my buddies David and Dustin, who were both occasionally on here, but they both, I knew them both at that time. But then there are others that, like here in the one from 2002, I was leaving middle school to go to high school. And I was going to a high school that there were two other people in my middle school that were going to because my family had moved. And so I was going to a high school that pretty much I knew no one at, basically. And of course some people knew that was never a secret. Someone wrote here, have fun at that school. You will make a lot of new friends. Keep being your independent self. I was always, part of the reason I felt like I had no friends, I stood out. I was bullied. There were people that made that clear. I hardly knew her. I mean, I'm sure I had some classes with her. I was able to look at her name and then find her in the book and be like, okay, I recognize who that was, sort of, by face. But it wasn't really someone I knew. But for her to write that, she saw me, who I was. I don't know if I just never noticed that or if it just never clicked with me whenever I read it before. But it does right now. Just that. We were kids. What? 12, 13, whatever you are. Middle school, going into high school. Just realizing that someone that I hardly knew saw me and thought to write something kind and caring. I felt like maybe I didn't have a lot of friends, but part of me almost just reading that was like, probably could have had more than I thought. I didn't. I mean, again, part of why I didn't have friends is I didn't reach out to have friends. I'm going to keep organizing stuff, but that just kind of, I started reading that and just got really distracted. Because I was bullied some through school. And I knew I had a few good friends. But perhaps there were some people that I hardly knew that cared about me as well. And that was actually quite productive. I did completely empty out that bin, a few cases in the closet, big stack of stuff in the trash, and a handful of other things put away in various other, bins here or on the shelf out, the bookshelf out in the living room. So, yeah, it was nice and productive. Still working on editing the same video I have been for the last few hours. Just every so often sitting here, doing another cut or two, and then going and doing something else. And now continuing to sort through stuff that's sitting in there. I got Legos all piled out here. And some of them are just like boxes full. And like I got out this case from the closet that had extra space in it. So I'm going to move some stuff into there to fill that up. And basically, I had this thing with this in it, with all these little things in it. And I think my goal is to clear all of this stuff into other cases. And I think in part, like I have these little things all just sorted and organized. But some of them are very, very organized. So I'm going to take some of those things that are specifically organized and just make broader categories. This thing here I have, it's all the little Lego Technic whatever bits. I'm just going to put a lot of the other Lego Technic bits in the same little dividers. Still more or less organized, but not each separate piece for Lego Technic needs its own section. And that'll help me reduce the containers. And also clear up those containers for some other use. I don't know what, but I might find a use for them. I was like, those could be, because I got those and a few others. I was like, I got a number of those containers. That could be useful. Anyway, so I'm just going to start doing that and trying to reduce the space that the Legos take up a little bit, and then put them in the closet. And alright, so I got more Legos in here. I think that's just about all of my Legos now, somewhere or other in the closet. Probably. It's possible that there's some more somewhere that I've forgotten of. But I think at this point they should all have been gotten over here, and I think I've gotten them all now into as small of space as possible without getting rid of any, and gotten them all put away. A bit less organized than they were. But really, the organization does nothing but prevent me from using them anyways. Because there were definitely times that I would look at them and be like, well, I could play with my Legos. But then they wouldn't be all neat and organized anymore, so I can't do that. So it's not a terrible thing. But they are now put away at least. And I got the empty bins sitting back here, taking up a bit less space now, because some of them are now being used to store stuff in the closet. But some of those, maybe bins that I used to store other things. Like still got boxes in here to sort through at some point. But did a little bit of organizing today, just accomplishing something. All right. So I just spent the last 2 hours on RPGGeek, and by extension Board Game Geek as well, attaching my content to it. I used to do that all the time, like every week. New video would come out, I'd attach it. Now, about 2 years ago-ish, I switched from the job that I had been at a small little computer repair shop that literally was not paying me. Like, I left there, and they were multiple months behind on paying me. So I left there, for obvious reasons, to my current job, which is wonderful and pays me on a regular basis. It's nice. But one of the downsides with that is my current job doesn't involve a whole lot of just free time that I can sit and play on the computer. My old job did. Which, of course it did. The business was failing. What else was I going to do with my time? So when I was there, it was very easy. Because even though at this point, for quite a while now, I schedule videos ahead of time, I would just go in after the video had uploaded, and I would just put it in during my spare time sitting around at work. I can't do that now. And when I went through that transition, I did not reallocate uploading the videos to that website to some other part of my time. Now, I'll say the importance of uploading them to that website. That was a website that I'd heard of but didn't really know of until one particular video that, in my mind, should have been a relatively unpopular video, but you know what? I had the opportunity to do an unboxing that I didn't have to spend money on because my buddy Dustin had gotten this Descent Sea of Blood expansion for the old version of Descent. So I was like, it's an old version of a game. It's probably not going to be popular, but there was a point where I looked at it and I was like, why is that video so popular? And I go through YouTube's metrics and things, and I find a huge amount of traffic from this Board Game Geek site, and find that someone else had linked my video on there. I am so grateful for that person. It always says on there, like, when I upload a video, it's like, if you didn't make the video, make sure you give them time to put it up. I'm so glad whoever did that actually linked my video for that site, because that made me realize that while many of my videos don't get a huge amount of traffic from this, some of them do. Some of them just fall in a niche that they're like, oh, here, yes, this is where people are looking for that content. And I realized that near the beginning of the year that, oh, I haven't been attaching my videos to that. That has to be negatively impacting my growth. And I did a big batch of them. But at that point I was, about a year, more than a year behind. And so I did a big batch and then I just put it on my phone, to, update RPGGeek. It's been 8 months. And every week, I move that. I take that little calendar reminder and I move it 1 or 2 weeks, whatever, however far forward. I'm like, I'll have to get around to it. Now, I'm actually going to take that same reminder now, and I'm going to move it like 2 months forward, just to make sure that if I've not kept up on it from here, that I remember, oh, I need to go do that before it gets so ridiculously bad that it takes 2 hours to catch up. Because it just took me 2 hours to catch up. But I did. I have now attached all of my content up into the video that was released this last Thursday, with the exception of like 1 or 2 videos that there is no page that it makes sense to attach it to. But with that exception, everything's been attached. And now, of course, it takes, days or a week for them to approve them. But I don't think I've ever had any issues with that. It's just making sure no one's doing anything they shouldn't. And so that we'll go through, and there will be a whole nother website where people can find the videos for the last, how long ago, how far behind was that? Because when I went, basically I'd go through the list and I go back to where things had last been uploaded, and it looks like August of last year was the last video that I had uploaded, and that was what I'd gotten up to when I'd tried to start catching up at the beginning of this year. So that's how far caught up I had gotten then, and then of course got further behind as time went on. But yeah, so now I've actually caught up. I'm like, yeah, I needed to do that. And it's like really been weighing on me the last month or so, like, because I'm looking at it and I'm having on that channel more or less stagnant numbers. And I'm feeling like it's like there's not really growth. Or there's very slight growth in the subscribers, etc. I do get a few new people, and I don't know if people that are leaving because they're unsubscribing, or if they are like accounts that are going away, deleted, etc. YouTube accounts that I'm losing. I'm not sure. I don't know how to check, or if I can check. But I know that I'd like for growth to continue, because I want that channel to double in size. Right now, I have, let's just check my dashboard. On JadeKind Gaming, I have 498 subscribers. If I get 1,000, I can resume making money on that site. And even if it is just $100 a year or whatever, again, like it was before, what I pretty much just gotten to, like, I'm happy with that. And I meet the other metrics. But yeah, that's good. That's money to throw at stuff to unbox on the channel that otherwise I have to, use the money I make at my real job. And it also just feels good when you get that. So hopefully getting all those attached will help get at least a little bit growth started, and every little bit of growth does help with more further growth. Got a lot done today, I guess. Nothing incredibly exciting, but a lot of smaller things. I mean, I'm able to stand right here, which I couldn't this morning because that bin was there and there was stuff where that is. Cleaned up some space in here. I finally got the stuff up on the RPGGeek and Board Game Geek websites. The thing is, when they approve those, for each one that they approve, it sends me a message. I'm gonna get a lot of those messages. Oh well, it's been a while, but I guess technically when I first found out about it and I went back and submitted all my back stuff, and then same thing happened. A lot of session videos, which means just the general Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition page will just be all the last, literally there's more than a full campaign. It's the ending of the previous campaign, all of the Banished campaign, and the start of my current campaign are all going to be right up in a row. But you know what? I got it done. That's the important part. Otherwise, I'm going to find something to eat. Mom says I can eat eggs even though they're a week expired, as long as they don't look like they're coming apart when I open them up. As long as internally they seem sound. So maybe I'll do a quick batch of pancakes and have that before going to bed. But I am tired. Thank you for joining me. Joining me as my journey continues. Bye.